Hello, what is going on, Bookish Besties? It's me, Ashley, and today we are talking about Onyx Storm. But don't worry if you haven't finished it yet, or if you haven't started the Empyrean series, totally fine, because this is the non-spoiler review. So go ahead and grab your favorite little bev. Today I'm drinking water, because it's very important for all of us to hydrate. Grab a comfy blanket, get all cozy, and let's dive in. So Onyx Storm is literally Homer's Odyssey, but with dragons, and Odysseus is a 21-year-old girl. But that's only part of the book. Onyx Storm also gives the most Harry Potter vibes, where tragedies happen and students die, but it's a school, so characters, you still gotta get to class, you still gotta do that physics homework. Seeing this juxtaposition of these characters literally riding on the backs of dragons and going into battle, but then also like struggling to find time to study and write papers, is such an enjoyable, it just makes her such an enjoyable read. Without giving too much away of the book, that's pretty much all I can give as far as a summary of the plot goes. But diving into some of my personal experiences reading, I did take off a full day of work on January 21st in order to do nothing but sit down and read this book. I truly could have finished it in 24 hours, but I wanted to savor it just a little bit, so I finished it in like 48. So there's either a lot of new side characters, or I just wasn't paying attention to the other books when these characters were brought up. But these characters really step up to the plate and are really crucial in a lot of the driving plot points. But I did have to sometimes figure out, like, wait a minute, who is this person? What is this place? How do I know this name? How do I know them from? Backtracking. Rebecca Yarros. We learned in Fourth Wing very quickly not to grow attached to any side character. Like chapter 3, we were like, got it, so everyone's at risk. Cool. So since then, I told myself to not get attached to any side characters. And obviously, now by book 3, I have faced some repercussions, and maybe I should start actually learning the names of these side characters. Rebecca definitely learned from her mistake with Iron Flame, because this book, you can tell, was loved, was pruded, was parodied, and it was so beautifully edited. There were so many Easter eggs and foreshadowing moments, like just sewn so eloquently throughout this book. And like, yes, I was looking for them. I had my little goggles on, if you will, but I can tell that so much love and time went into the creation of Onyx Storm. There's also some really great humor moments that just made me giggle and laugh and kick my little feet. So just overall, such an enjoyable read. I loved this book. I love the experience of reading this book. When it comes to the tropes that are in Onyx Storm, there is one that immediately pops into my head that's really, really big in fantasy and romance novels, both. But I can't say it because it's technically a spoiler for the end of the book. So maybe that's just like a hint, but it's a trope that we've seen before, I guess? Sorry, I can't say anything else. The same theme of enemies to lovers that we've seen since book 1 is still continuing into Onyx Storm, but with a twist. No longer are these two characters necessarily enemies. They are very, very much lovers. However, the male main character has such a war and a battle going on with this darkness that's inside of him. So when I say it's enemies to lovers, it's like a main monster enemy. You know, that made a lot more sense in my head. And I don't want to spoil too many of the books in case you haven't read Fourth Wing or Iron Flame, but one of our main love interests is not doing too hot. And he just has a battle within him, and that's more of the enemies to lovers that we're seeing. And I don't know if necessarily you would call this a full-on trope, but our main characters do go on such a great epic quest, just like Odysseus did in Homer's Odyssey. Our female main character is leading a team and going and exploring parts of the world that really no one else has explored. And by doing so, they have to complete different trials and different quests. Like, it's giving the Odyssey, but literally with dragons. In Onyx Storm, Violet really came into her own, and like, thank God that she did. Because if you watch my video on Iron Flame, you know all too well that I did not like Violet's character development in that book. It almost receded after all the growth that we had in Fourth Wing, and we are back to the growth in Onyx Storm, Violet's literally thrusted into this leadership position that she's never asked for, she's never wanted. She is so used to being this frail, weak, tiny little thing, and people seeing her as that. But now she's truly strong. I almost slipped up and said something, and I can't say it anymore because I was like, that's a spoiler. If I keep going, that's gonna be a spoiler. I got you guys. I'm looking out for you guys. I do want to pull the dedication from Onyx Storm because I think it sums up really nicely all of the growth that we see in Violet's character. To the ones who don't run with the popular crowd, the ones who get caught reading under their desks, the ones who feel like they never get invited, included, or represented, get your leathers, we have dragons to ride. It's just such a sweet dedication, and it really just kind of sums up this, not just independence, but this growth of character development we see in Violet as she comes into her own. Even though has never been like with popular crowd, she was a scribe. She was definitely one of the ones caught reading under the desks, and like, hi, so was I. So maybe that's also what I love about this book, is like seeing who this is dedicated to and seeing so much of myself in the growth of Violet throughout these 527 pages. And there are so many great side characters that we finally really get to see a new perspective of that we haven't in prior books. They are given so much more personality. We get to take a little bit of a deeper look into other relationships with writers and their dragons, not just Violet's that we've really seen as the female main character. We've only really seen her interactions and her relationship with her dragon, but now we get to explore some of the friends and some of those side characters that we are really growing to love so much in this book. Okay, the plot twists in this book, holy cow. Holy cow. Without saying too much, I will say I prepared myself for worse. I did prepare myself for worse. There were so many questions that I had after Fourth Wing and Iron Flame that were answered in Onyx Storm, which I love. But yet, somehow, at the end of Onyx Storm, I'm still left with even more questions. How did she do that? I can't dig too much into the plot twists and the plot of this book without giving too much away, but I will say that I feel like I should have saw it coming, but I didn't. So we know that Rebecca loves a good cliffhanger, and if you don't, welcome to the club. We now know that Rebecca loves a good cliffhanger, and Onyx Storm is no different. Like I said, she sets up the future of these characters and storyline in such a great way. There's truly no turning back for them. They have officially crossed the parapet. They can't go back. They are just forced to go forward down this path that they chose. And that's all I can really say about that without saying too much or spoiling too much. I am going to show you this clip of me reacting to the last page because actions speak louder than words. Oh my god. Oh my god. What's the book? I personally cannot wait to dive into this book with my book club. We have so many unhinged thoughts and theories. I remember our Fourth Wing and Iron Flame clubs were just the longest because we all had thoughts. We had thoughts, we had opinions, and I can't wait to get with my peeps and just talk it through. As I've said in previous videos, if you are in a reading slump or if you or a friend are trying to dive into fantasy and don't know where to start with the Empyrean series. It's such a great transition. It's such a great transition into the genre, an introduction into the genre. Rebecca Yarros is first and foremost a romance writer. With Fourth Wing being her first fantasy book, it makes a lot of sense if you're used to reading a different genre to start your first fantasy with someone else's first fantasy that is certifiably a great, fun read. So yes, read this in book club, take advantage of it, send it to your friends, let them know, hey, this book actually sounds pretty dang good. I am going to continue to dive into Onyx Storm, so stay tuned. I have a full spoiler review coming soon. I have my own reading reactions to reading Onyx Storm, so you'll essentially be going through the book for the very first time with me. I'll be reacting to my Empyrean Theories Part 1 video, and I'll be coming together with a new theories video after finishing Onyx Storm. So guys, we are in for a ride. We are in for a treat. Let's go. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Is Onyx Storm on your TBR? Have you already read it? Without spoilers, in the comments, let me know, what did you guys think? I can't wait to talk more books with you. Oh, I gotta get my drink. There she is. Share this with your friend who either hasn't started Onyx Storm or has just started Onyx Storm and you're so excited for them to go through it and read it, so you guys can dive in and just discuss everything afterwards. And on that note, I will see you all next time, and happy reading!